Right guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm just going to be showing you how to install a Token Ninja thread fit bottom bracket into your press fit frame. So let's go ahead, let's run through the steps. So we have the Token Ninja bottom bracket. So this is for a BB386. So what I mean by that is it's 46mm diameter hole in your bottom bracket shell that this will fit into. And it's 86.5mm across, so it'll fit that, or it fits a 92mm across as well. So I'll just get this out of the box. We'll just take a look what you actually get. So you get, in this particular one, we get the adapters to take a Shimano Hollowtech crank. So you get those, two of those. You get a couple of shims there if you need them on the axle of the crank itself. You get the bottom bracket. Now these ones are threaded together in the middle, so they got a thread like that and they thread together, so there's this one piece as opposed to two cups with just a plastic sleeve in the middle. So the theory of that is obviously that's one piece then when it's screwed together, so it's more likely to eliminate the creaking of your bottom bracket as opposed to just two separate cups with the plastic in the middle, so they can just move independently of one another, whereas this is one piece when it's screwed together. So you get the side with the thread on there, and it's threaded down inside here all the way, and you get a series of spacers here, a couple of shims. So being as this is a 86.5mm shell it's going into, we don't need these two spacers there. We just require these two. So one either side basically of these, the thinnest ones. So one of those goes on there, sits over that cup where the bearing is, and that one sits over there like that before you install it. And then, like you say, these are for the 24mm adapters that go in the middle there to take the Shimano crank. So let's go ahead, let's get this fitted into the frame. So before we fit it, I'll just mention the ends here, like you see there, is a 16 notch on there. So you can buy a special tool for this to use if you can get hold of the tool to put this in with. If not, like I say, this is 16 notch and it's 48.5mm roughly in diameter. So there's various tools that you can use to fit it. So you can get a spanner like that. Obviously that goes over, will fit over there like that. So you can hold one side with a spanner, or you can just do it up with a spanner as well if you had two of them, and hold one side to stop it spinning and do the other side up. Or you can get the bottom bracket cup tool like that, 16 notch, and that'll fit over there like that to do it up. So as long as it's 16 tooth tool and 48.5, 49mm roughly diameter tool, then it'll fit on these. If it's too small, then it's not gonna fit on there. So you might have a tool that you think is going to fit, but it won't. They're quite large to actually fit over that, so you need the correct ones. Or you can buy the proper tool from Token, make the tool to actually install it with if it's available at the time you're doing it. So on the right hand side you want the piece that looks like that with like the male end on it. Then what you do is you can put a smear of grease just on the cup there around the edge before you install it into the frame, and then the same on the other side, just put some grease on the opposite side like the female version on that side, and make sure you got your two, one washer there, shim, the thin one, the metal one, and one on there. Before you put it in, just put some grease around there, and we can go ahead and press that in. And also, before you go ahead and install it, make sure you put some grease around the threads on here and just up inside the opposite one. So just grease those threads there, and just put some round inside here as well. So when it screws together, you know it's going to come back out. If you need to get it out again, just grease that up before you put them together. So we just offer one up, and then do the same on the other side. Just put it through the middle until you feel them come together in the middle. Then you can get the thread started. Just get them so they're started, and the cups obviously touching the bottom bracket shell there on both sides, so you know it's going to push in, and then we can start threading it in. So we got the tool on the left hand side there, just holding it in position, and then we can fit the cup tool on this side and tighten this side up, and you should pull them both together. Just keep an eye on both sides, make sure it's going in square, it's not going in crooked or anything when you're doing it. So once you got it so far in and just nipped up, then you go ahead and torque that to 25 to 30 Newton meters. So once you've torqued the bottom bracket up to spec, then what we need to do is put the adapters in for the Shimano crankset. So before we put them in, I'll put some grease around them before we stick them in there. Then we can put those, just push them in like that, and then do the same on the opposite side one. So once you put the adapters in there, then you want to put the crankset in. So we just put some grease over the axle before we slide it through. And on both sides we just put some grease up in there as well, on both sides. And go ahead then and push your axle through, making sure it's gone right in to this side. Then we put the opposite arm on. So before we put this arm on, just put some grease over the thread there. Then we slide the arm on. Remember, the plastic tab has to be raised up above the arm before you put it on. So you just put it on the opposite to the other arm and slide it on like that into place. and then put your nut in the centre. And then we'll do that up. Remember, this one only wants to be just nipped up. So tighten it down like that, and that'll be plenty. It's only about 1.5 Newton meters maximum on that of torque. If you do it right up, then all you're doing is putting too much load on the bearings, preload on the bearings, so you just shorten the life of the bearings. So just nip that up like so, and then push your plastic tab down so it's flush with your arm before you do up your two 5mm hex heads. Just do them up one at a time, just a bit at a time, till one bites, and then do the other one up. Snip that up and then go back to that one. So we nip them up alternately like that. Then we can go ahead and torque those down between 12 and 14 Newton meters on those. So what you want to do is check, grab hold of the arm, move it backwards and forwards, make sure you've got no play in it at all, which you shouldn't have. And then check they spin nice and free, which they should do. So if you found the video helpful, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe and I'll see you then.